Hey, welcome back and welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this barn. But you're going to love this video because I'm going to show you how I did the shading and all the little detail work. Now let's get into it. Alrighty. So I already had this barn pre-built and I was doing some testing with some plans that I've created. I wanted to see how it would go. However, I didn't want to record something I knew nothing about and didn't want anybody seeing. So I wanted to do the fine details and painting in this video first. So right here I decided to use the table saw to square off all these popsicle sticks that I picked up. I picked up about 1,000 popsicle sticks, so that was pretty good. And yeah, they turned out quite nice. Okay, first things first, let's get this barn primed out, just so we don't have to do it later. Okay, next step is just determining the size of the barn. I opted in for a little bit of an overhang around all the roofs. And here is a way to peel cardboard faster. I do it every second flute or corrugation. Does turn out nice and better than the way of just peeling it. So yes, I was looking for a nice kind of tin roof look. So this is a slightly modern barn. Right here I'm just using some standard wood glue type bond, pretty good stuff. And with this roof that I'm ripping off now, I had to redo it because I was not satisfied with adding a two-layered roof system, a two-piece. I don't think I could have made it blend well, so I just redid it. You don't need the glue brush, but it helps just to spread it out evenly, more evenly. A roller would work just as well. So I decided to use some tape in order to lay out a framework of the slats instead of just placing them onto the barn. I needed a nice solid foundation first, so I thought I would just use some tape out the profile of the back of the barn. I didn't need it for the sides, but for the front and the back I could do this in order to achieve kind of a single piece that I could glue on and then peel the tape off later. And then on the other side I just take some heavy duty scissors, shears, whatever, and just cut the popsicle sticks. You could use anything you want in order to cut these. Dremel, multi-tool, I don't know what else you could use besides these giant scissors and what I suggested. It was a tad difficult due to the fact that if pieces fell on the small side, small ends that I was cutting, I would lose them on the ground and then kind of have to recut them. It wasn't a big deal, just annoying, because there were some really small pieces in the corners going up from on the second layer of wood, or the second layer of popsicle sticks, to the roof line, top of the barn. And the tape wasn't really sticking as well. Okay, there you go. You can see that it was
Okay with that.
templated perfectly for that. Obviously it's reversed because I gotta put the glue face down. Yeah, so gluing the back on, it was a bit of a challenge due to the fact that some of the angles didn't quite line up as well for whatever reason, and they kind of extended way past the bottom a little bit too much. But let this dry and then I can do the other side. And the sides obviously didn't need a template, just kind of stick them on, reusing some popsicle sticks that were cut. I do find that they were pretty easy to snap or to cut in the center to split them up if you needed smaller pieces of wood. In the corner here, I needed like a half a popsicle stick.
There we go.
So
That's good.
that was pretty easy to do. And then same on the other side.
Bye.
Let that dry and come back to it later. Now onto the doors. So I started off making the hinges for the doors, and I only tested this theory because I knew no other way on how to do it without researching it. I kind of like to figure out how to do stuff, just try it before I try to look it up online. So I took a dowel, or it's a skewer for barbecues, and rolled it up with some paper and glued it, taped it, let that dry for a couple hours. And after that, I decided to make my door while it was drying. Cut up some popsicle sticks to the size of the door that was going in. And so basically my idea was to make the two sides, and then after it's all dry, I would just split it up in the middle. I had no real design idea for this door, just to kind of frame it up like this, the way it is now. However, if I were to do this again, I would build the base or the backing of the door out of popsicle sticks instead. I tried doing some funky angles and whatnot, and I probably wouldn't do that again unless I did it right. This was kind of scabbed together, but again, this is a barn. Make it look like a shoddy barn, falling apart. Just kind of fun, unique. Not quite an equal distance from each other and whatnot, but it'll do for what I want. Okay, now for the door. So I glued in the center pin after I cut the two ends off of those paper rolls. I glued the center one onto the barn and then the two onto the door. You may want to use some better glue for this. This came out a little bit too much. Some white glue would work. I had a few issues with the doors as I put a little bit of an overhang on each side of the door, and then I had to take them off, cut the two popsicle sticks on the edge of the door frame and split them in half a little bit over that, just so that they could open fully and close. So yeah, just kind of lay it on there, let it dry fully with the skewer in there to hold everything together. Again, it's slightly off, but that's okay. Let that dry and everything. Decide to prime the barn, well, just the roof this time and not the wood. I wanted a very bright red kind of on my barn, so I decided to not prime it with black. I think this is the best color red for this barn. I had a few options. It was going to be a little bit more burgundy, but this actually was the best choice. I went full on just cover the whole thing in the front. Then I kind of realized I didn't want that look. It was too clean looking in the front. And because I didn't like the paint job, I decided to do a little bit of sanding just in the front and a tad in the back. However, I could have went a little bit more, but I didn't. I just wanted to give it a nice rough look on the front and just at the bottom. And it turned out pretty nice, even with the sanding. Touch up the doors first, or just before I move on to the back and the sides. But for the back, I decided to just ignore the bottom and leave it bare, looking like it was weathered. And the paint was stripping from the bottom because of all the water and the moisture that would be on the ground. Now on one of the sides I realized that, or on both the sides, I realized that there was a ton of overspray halfway up. I was priming and I didn't realize that, but that's okay. It made it look like mold. So I decided to add just various weathering to the roof, the tin roof. So I added a bunch of gray paint to make it look like the paint was shedding on the roof or peeling. Then I was adding a bunch of rust everywhere. I'd kind of think rust would be on a tin roof, where it'd build up at the bottom of the roof, on the edges, kind of pooled up there. Just to show this barn is aged and been through a lot of weather. I added a little bit more on the rusty, on the tin parts. That barn looks fantastic. I'm glad I did the way that I was going to do. However, there's a few things that I could change and fix, but that's because I didn't know what to do or how to do it in the first place. So in the future, I should be able to do it better now without having to guess my way through everything. I have the right tools, and now I could probably do it a lot smoother without having any issues. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.